Hello! Next week and the pre-order for Warhammer the Old World will start, but I'm not a great fan of it and I will tell you why. First, it's, in my opinion, really expensive. I think this kit over 200 euros and the other, you get two faction kits, cost even more. It's a new idea to release not like the Warhammer starter box or the Leviathan box, two factions, but one big factions, which is probably an interesting way to do it. Probably a better way than, for example, if you just wanted the Tyranids for the Leviathan or just the Space Blades, you get both and you don't want both. So it's probably a good idea to do this way, but you pay a lot for some really old models. Some of them, for example, this are in metal, or this are in metal, or this model is in resin, and they are really expensive. And I don't see, or I don't think it's worth it. That's the first point. Probably, if you are really, if was your first war game and really into it, then yes, why not? But if you have no connection to Warhammer Old World or Warhammer Fantasy, then I don't see why you should invest in this game. And another point is they split the community more. What I mean by this, for example, you can have a still Age of Sigmar. That's, for example, the Slave of Darkness, my favorite faction at the moment in Age of Sigmar. Probably I will build them. I have one kit built, and I will probably build more in the next or this year. But you see how many models you can get for even one faction. That's probably more than the whole Warhammer Fantasy range, and you don't know how well supported this range will be. And the problem is, probably some old world player or Warhammer Fantasy player came back to Warhammer. A few. Some Age of Sigmar player will go to Warhammer Old World and abandon Age of Sigmar. Then you have less Age of Sigmar player, and make it for both settings a little bit more difficult. If if I would make the whole Warhammer, I would make everything compatible. I probably it's really talk about this in another video. For example, how I would make compatible Guild Team and Warhammer 40k is compatible, but for example, you could make the Commander compatible. You could make Age of Sigmar fit in this. For example, the demons are some one part who fit in both settings, but even for example the base size is different. You can't, if you could use your Age of Sigmar models in Warhammer Fantasy, you have just a little bit different rules or something like this. This would be very interesting, even if you don't care about the square or the round bases, because then you don't need extra models. And the problem is, if you will split the community, the player base is get smaller every time. For example, I started 2022 with bolt action, built the starter box for bolt action, but I couldn't find any players, and so I abandoned this a little bit. And the Warhammer was very easy to find players, and if it's hard to find players, you probably you don't buy the game, you don't invest more in the game, you can't play the game, and it's a little bit like you make a computer multiplayer game and you don't find any players for them, then you probably will abandon the game very fast. And in tabletop, you don't have a single player mode. Of course, for example, if some people just interested in miniatures, just like to build them, then it's probably single player mode. But I'm very critical about this, and it's really expensive. You should order this stuff by Games Workshop. Other retailers are a little bit cheaper, but a lot of these models are Games Workshop, or they show some posters show the whole range. Some are Games Workshop exclusive, so can't buy them by other retailers. And as you spend a lot of money for very old models. And if I heard they make a new fantasy game, then I thought they make new miniatures and new stuff and new plastic kits for the old metal or miniatures, and they didn't, for example, they are still in metal. Um, and the problem is you'd have if you if they are released if you play Warhammer Fantasy, they're probably old or an old Warhammer army or make to order. For example, the Steel Legion was make to order last year. You get all models in metal and then you can work them. But I imagine it's much harder if you have some models in metal and some models in plastic and some models in resin. Especially for beginners, it's probably a really big problem. So I wouldn't. I think it's a bad. Don't buy it, and it's probably a bad idea. And another example was the Legion Imperialis. A lot of hype, and a lot of people bought the box. It was sold out, but I don't see a lot of it at the moment from Legion Imperialis. And launching a really new game, you need enough players. So that's probably a big problem. So at least I would wait a little bit before I bought in this. So tell me what you think. Bye bye.